Cuba, it's me, episode 72 of The Willu Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now today, I wanted to make a list of 10 moves, spots, whatever you want to call them, that I don't like to see in wrestling. They're not my favorites. There's just certain things that I'll explain each one individually. Certain circumstances or different ways of doing the moves could change it, so I'll be very specific. And also, I mean, a lot of people know it's entertainment, but I like when it's like realism and like certain things. Let's just start. Okay, the one first thing that I really don't like to see is when people do the kicks and slap the legs, because half the time they miss the kick, and then there's still a sound. And besides, even if you did kick someone, it wouldn't make that sound. It just bothers me. Like whenever I throw a drop kick or a flying kick or anything, I don't slap my leg. It's so noticeable, and it's just like, I know it sounds good like on TV and everything like that. It's really good for TV, but like at an indie show, what's the point? Like, I know like at TV you're working for the sound and you're working for the people in the top rows, but like, I don't know, I just don't like it. It just looks too phony. Why would you slap your leg? And I know a lot of people do it, and maybe I'm wrong, so tell me if I'm wrong, but it's not my favorite thing. People didn't used to slap the legs when they kicked. It's just like, why add that in? Just kick them. If you make the kick look good enough, you don't need the extra slap. Alright, the second one I want to talk about is the Irish whip. Now, sometimes this can look good, but it just depends how it's executed. If it's executed poorly, where the guy's like, here, give me my hand, and then the guy gives him his hand, and then he just half-ass it. Like, if you're in a headlock and you're really pushing the guy back, and then you throw him, like, that can look really good. Or, like, if you have him in the corner, and you grab his hand, and then you, like, really whip him, like, I mean, I know it's kind of phony, like, would that really happen in real life? I don't know, but sometimes it can look good, but a lot of times it doesn't, and I just wish people, if you're gonna do it, make it look really good. The next, I guess it's like a spot, I guess, is I can't stand when they do, like they're doing these big matches, and then all of a sudden, one of them gives them like a super kick or like a really hard shot, and then they don't even sell them, and then just hit them right back. And it's like, really? So like now it's like, okay, if that doesn't hurt, or you're just so fired up, your adrenaline's fired up. I don't know. I guess I'm more old school, where it's like, if you're gonna do a move to me, I'm gonna sell it. Like, I don't like when they kick and then all of a sudden then the other guy nails him. It doesn't even hurt him. Like, really? Like, and at least if it wouldn't it be in the beginning of the match when you're not so weak? And then a lot of times that's like a big spot at the end of the match where it's like the guys have done every move under the sun, and then all of a sudden they do the same moves, and now they're not even hurting each other because they're just, I don't know, like, there's a couple times where I pop for it, maybe the first couple times I see in it, but then I think it's just overplayed now. Like, I know wrestling is evolving, and so that forces people to come up with different things to be creative, but I don't know, most of the time I'm just like, why? Like, he just did an awesome kick, and then you just don't even sell it and kick him back. Then why would he sell yours? Is his better than yours? I don't know. Sometimes it just bothers me. Not all the time, but hey, I have to do an episode. This is episode 72. The next one I don't like is when they get the guy in the corner and do the 10 punch. This is going back so old school. I'd rather see them hit his head off the corner 10 times. Like, I listened to a podcast with Jim Ross, and he's like, I'm not a fan of that. And especially, like, people know if you're in a really fight and some guy gets you good, like, at least, like, try and make it look like you're blocking, maybe, like, but it's like, I mean, I know it's good for the crowd, and, like, I've done it many times myself, and it's like, when you're trying to be the guy that everyone's cheering for you, it's good, because they can count along, and, like, I see why Perfect 10 does it, because I see why he does it, but it's like, if you just punch someone in the head 10 times, and, okay, this is another rant I gotta go on, too, like, what are the rules in wrestling anymore? Like, I almost feel like at the beginning of each Raw or pay-per-view or any wrestling show, an indie show, they should say the rules so people know. Are you allowed open hand strikes? Are you allowed not to punch in the face? It seems like you're not allowed to hit in the face, but you can hit, like, in the head or here. Well, like, what is the rules? Like, I honestly feel they should try and make it I know it's entertainment, but if you really, it'd be better for the refs too, because then the refs could be a bigger part of the match. Like, explain the rules at an indie show, especially like a lot of the kids, they don't even know the rules. Like, so are you allowed to punch? And if you are gonna punch, where are you allowed to punch? Like, a lot of times I don't even do punching anymore. I just do like forearms to the chest, and that may not look as strong, but it's like, if I was really allowed to punch someone in the face, I'd punch him in the face. Like, so are we allowed or not? I wish at the beginning of the show they'd be like, here is the rules for tonight's matches. So it just, and they would put over, and then you could have a really good spot with a heel where he gets away with breaking the rules instead of, it's like, they break the rules, but no one knows anymore. Like, so anyway, the 10 punches in the corner, I think it's kind of played out. Like, do something else. At least Sheamus does that thing where he does the 10 beats on the chest now. Like, okay, at least he switched up. The next one is a good move, but I'm just sick of seeing it. It seemed at one point on Raw there was like 4 people doing it. It's where they just do the flying dive through the flying push through the ropes. Like, I love seeing dives. I love high flying. I love risk taking. But it just seems silly. It's like a flying push. And I know people are trying not to get hurt, so I understand it. Like, I understand all these moves and stuff like that, but I remember one Raw where I watched and Dean Ambrose did it, and then in the next match Seth Rollins did it, and then the next match Luke Harper did it, so it was just like, well, what's the point? Like, I wish just one guy would have it, but I know they're running out of moves. There's so many guys. How do you have a unique move? And like, you want to do a dive, but you want to be able to do it every night. So I totally understand it, but I just try and do something. Like, I've been trying to come up with like some kind of different dive for me. Like, so now I've been doing like a flying kick off the corner and trying to land on my feet, so it's not like such high risk, or just, I don't know. I just wish they would evolve. I love like a flying body press or a flip over the ropes, but I realize people can't do it. So I understand, but and then especially a lot of them do it 2 or 3 times. It's like, really? Like, and sometimes it looks worse for the guy doing it. Like, a lot of the times he does a flying and the guy just kind of brushes him off and then he takes a harder crash. It just seems, and at least I wish they would sell that. Like, I wish sometimes, I really liked in that, the UK match where the guy went for the dive and he just threw him out of the way and that was the finish. Like, once in a while, it can't always work out for the guy doing it. It's high risk. Like, it always seems like they don't just go with it. It's like, whatever is planned, if the guy doing the move is planned to do that move and it's good, but if he kind of misses you or you take the worst of it, why isn't the other guy taking over? The next one is, like, you know when people are firing up and they give the good guys got him and he's bumping him a couple times and he gives some back elbows and he gives some clotheslines and he bumps him a couple times in a row. Those are usually fine, but I don't like the half-ass one they're doing now where it's like, it's not even a back elbow, they just like get the hands up. They just like make the guy bump you just push your hands up. It's just like, it's supposed to be a back elbow, but now it's just like, and then the guy got a bump for it. It just seems lazy and it's like, it's not even really a move. Really? You're just going to put your hands up and push me in the chest and I'm going to bump off that? Like, I don't like that very much. Here's another one that I don't like that I've used myself a lot over the years. When the guy has him and he drops down and does a jawbreaker where it's like he grabs his head and the jaw and he goes down to his knees. I don't know. I just think it looks weak. I've used it so many times myself, but I'm trying to get past that. It just doesn't look very effective. It just looks kind of, I don't know, it just looks like it would hurt the other guy more having the guy's jaw smash in the top of your head. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but, you know, I just don't like it. And then the next one I don't like is when they throw the guy through the ropes. Or even when they throw them back in the ring. It just looks like, really? Like, if you take some guy and throw him as hard by the tights as you can. Or, like, when they sidestep and just, like, push his head like that and the guy just goes flying. Like, it just doesn't seem believable. Like, there's gotta, if you need to get the guy in the ring or get him out of the ring, there's gotta be better ways to do it than that. And if you are gonna do it, I like when they really make it look like you're working for it. You wouldn't be able to just grab the guy and go like this and he'd go flying like on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where they throw Jazz out the door every time. It wouldn't be like that. Like, at least if you're gonna do it, make it so you just barely push them and roll them in, or like when they throw them through the ropes, through the. Sometimes it looks good. It depends on the person. The next one also depends on the person. I'm not a big fan of the headbutt. Going back to the whole rule thing, and like a headbutt hurts both people, but if you do a really good headbutt, you could knock somebody out. A lot of times I don't like when Big Show did the headbutt. It just looks so bad. I really like Jack Gallagher's headbutt because he does it very well, and then he sells it himself and is all woozy, and he doesn't overdo it and like builds up to it. I don't mind it once in a while, but a lot of the times it just looks so phone, like especially when Big Show would do it. My last one, the 10th one, would be the double axe handle. Don't get me wrong, I am a fan of the Macho Man Randy Savage double axe handle. He used to make it look so good. Now it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just like they go up to the top rope. Jericho does it a lot too. And he goes up to the top rope and it's like, yes, he's going to the top. I'd rather see a crossbody or anything. Sometimes it just looks so weak. It's just like I don't know. I could be wrong with all these. This is just what happens when the camera goes to bed and I watch wrestling. Sometimes I'm just like, it depends what mood I'm in, I guess. But those are the 10 ones that like I said, under certain circumstances, I don't really like seeing that much. I just feel like wrestling has evolved, and sometimes it evolves good, and sometimes it evolves bad. So let me know what you think. Are some of these moves, do you agree you don't really like to see them, or some of them you may love, or like certain people, like he does it really well, but this guy doesn't do it well. Like, so I don't want to see, like I was saying, I don't want to see Big Show headbutt, but I want to see Jack Gallagher, which would be better. You would think Big Show's head is like this big. You think his headbutt, if he executed his like Jack Gallagher, that could be his finisher. Just like a lot of people are punching in the match. Like I was saying before, the 10 punches, where Big Show just has the knockout punch and that's his finisher. So I think it depends on the circumstances and who's doing it. But I'd really like to hear your people's opinions, and let me know. And I know this is supposed to be a positive show, so don't worry. Tomorrow I'm going to do 10 moves that I'd love to see in wrestling. But this is 10 moves or spots, or whatever else you want to call them, that I'm not a big fan of seeing anymore. Episode 71 of The Willow Show. Remember, like, or you get a leg drop. Comment, or you get a clothesline. Subscribe, or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!